I'm going to show you how to work with clipping masks in a more simplistic way, and to do that, we're going to do so in a brand new document. So I'm just going to hit Command-N or Control-N on the PC and take my defaults here. And the first thing that we want to do in this new document is place the graphic that's going to be masked. So I'm going to go up to File and then down to Place. And on my desktop, inside my Project Files folder, Part 1 folder, Lesson 3, you should see Picture 1, Picture 2, and Picture 3.jpg. I'm going to go for Picture 1 and click on Place. And here we have a graphic of the Great North here. Just zoom in a little bit there. There it is. And what I want to do is mask off parts of this graphic here. And again, I'm going to start in a very simple way here. So all I'm going to do is grab my rectangle tool and click and drag a rectangle over top of my graphic. Now here's how it works. The object that's going to be doing the masking has to sit on top of the object that's going to be masked. Again, if you want to use the analogy of a cookie cutter and cookie dough, that's fine, whatever works for you. So I have both my items here ready to go. I'm going to highlight both of them here just by shift clicking on my graphic there. I head up to Object, all the way down to Clipping Mask, and then Make. What I wind up with is this. In other words, any part of the graphic that sat inside my clipping object is retained. Anything that falls outside of it is hidden. It's not deleted, it's still there, it's just masked, it's still in there. Now notice too that the fill and stroke attributes of the masking object are removed, they're gone. And you can see that down in the bottom of your toolbar. Here's something else I'll point out. Over in my Layers palette, I can see that both the masking object and the graphic behind it are grouped right there. I open up the next little twisty there, and there's my masking object, there's my imported graphic. This underline here indicates that this object is clipping the object underneath. So you can always tell what's going on inside your Layers palette. Move that back over to the right here. Here's a few other neat things you can do. Switch over to your white arrow tool now, and I'll just click in some white space to deselect, and I can come back and click right on the edge of my masking object here and begin manipulating the anchor points here, the paths, and so on. So my cookie cutter is always editable here. Always change it, always move it around, always make adjustments to it. I could use my pen tool if I wanted to and add or remove anchor points here. Pretty simple stuff. I can single click on the graphic in the background, and I can also move it around inside my mask here. So you can do some cool things. In fact, here's one other thing that you can do. What I'll do is I'll grab my black arrow tool and delete out everything. I don't need anything there. And I want to show you how to do this quickly on some text. So I'll grab my type tool here and single click and type in some text. So I've typed in some text here. You can scale it up, change the font, do whatever you'd like to do to it here. I'll simply make mine bold here. There we are. And what I want to do is I want to put the graphic inside this text here. Okay, now to do this, I've typed in my text, and by the way, when I'm doing this, I find that using a thick, heavy font usually gives me the best result. The other thing I'm going to do is outline my text here just by going to the Type menu and down to Create Outlines. So now I no longer have editable text here. My letters are now just objects. They'll serve as my cookie cutter. This guy here in the background, my mask from earlier, can be deleted. Get rid of that. And I'll go back up to File, down to Place, and go and find the graphic that I'd like to use. I'm going to use Picture 2 here. If you have any of your own graphics lying around, you can certainly use them. So here we are. And I'll take this graphic and I have to send it to the back, don't forget. So on the Mac, Command-Shift, open square bracket. On the PC, Control-Shift, open square bracket. I'll scale it down here just a little bit. Move it into position as I want here. Grab the works, and then go and create my mask. Object, down to Clipping Mask, and then Make. Now, what happened? It looks like it didn't work. Well, it's a little bit tricky because I set them as outlines. Illustrator is seeing them as individual shapes, not as one single shape to hold the graphic. So let me show you how to fix this. I'm going to undo, Command-Z on the Mac or Control-Z on the PC. And I'll grab my text here, and I want Illustrator to see this as one single object. So I have my text selected, and I'll head up to the Object menu, and down to compound path and then make, and that joins all of the shapes into one single object. And then I'll marquee over the text and the graphic, and then go and create my clipping mask. Object, down to clipping mask, and then make. Or of course, Command 7 on the Mac or Control 7 on the PC. And there we have the graphic filling the shape of the text. Now it's a little tricky to see over towards the right here. So maybe what I could do is do an undo here, Command Z or Control Z on the PC, and shift click on the graphic so that I just have the text left here, and I'll copy it and then go and recreate my clipping mask here, and I'll use my keyboard shortcut Command 7 or Control 7, and then I'll paste in front. Remember that command? So Command F or Control F, and then go and put a stroke on the copied text so I wind up with something like this. So you can do some pretty neat things with text and masks. This is just a very quick example here to show you what's possible.